If you have foods that you find you go out of control with, whether it's chocolate, pizza, or cake, this is the video for you. Hey, I'm Rachel Goodman. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist who's here to help you find peace with food, feel good in your body, and be able to have a healthy relationship with food where you enjoy all foods and feel great. So you're probably here if you have what's called trigger foods. Trigger foods are foods that if you happen to take a bite of, you then feel like you ruined your day, you go completely out of control, and it triggers chaotic eating or binge eating. I asked on Instagram, what are your top 3 trigger foods? And the top 3 were pizza, chips, and chocolate. And these types of foods usually get a bad rep from diet culture. They're labeled as bad and addicting and causing you to feel out of control with food. And then what happens is you go into that eating experience believing that about that food. You start to feel out of control with that food, and that reaffirms that false belief that you should not be having this food, you can't trust yourself with this food, and these foods are the reason that you binge eat, which is not true. I discussed the real reason you binge eat in a previous video, which I will link for you both in the video and description that you can check out to understand fully why binge eating happens and how to stop. But in this video, I'm gonna walk you through one of the best ways to stop feeling out of control with these trigger foods that you have. And I'm gonna cover how to do that specifically with potato chips, chocolate, and pizza, but you can apply it to any food that you feel is triggering to you. But one of the best ways to stop feeling out of control with food and stop binge eating is to remove the food rules, remove the guilt, and give yourself permission to enjoy these foods. Now, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, Rachel, that sounds scary. Like, every time I have this, I go out of control. How do I know that I can really do this? Or maybe you've tried to give yourself permission to eat, and then every time you do, it doesn't work, and you still feel out of control with food, and you still don't believe that you can really enjoy these foods without triggering overeating or binge eating, and you still blame yourself for that. Well, if that's the case for you, today I'm gonna share with you my #1 tip to help you ease this process in a way that feels safer to you and actually works to help you feel balanced with these foods rather than triggered and binge eating these foods. First of all, you don't have to reintroduce all your trigger foods at the same time. It's okay to choose one food at a time. In fact, if you've tried to reintroduce your trigger foods and feel out of control with food every time and feel like it's not working, I highly recommend you slow that process down, select one food at a time. I prefer to use the least triggering food and then ease your way up to most triggering food. So take a moment to think, hey, what's, one triggering food that I could work on and implement into this process? And maybe it's one of the things I'm discussing today, which is chocolate, pizza, and potato chips. So you're in luck, but you absolutely can use it on whatever this method and this tip for whatever trigger food that you have. Now that you have that one food that you've selected, you want to normalize this food through the process called habituation. Habituation is reducing the response to a stimuli. So in simple terms, what that means is you have an event or a thing that triggers a reward response and excitement in your brain. And with time, the more you experience this item or event or experience, the less of a reward response that you get from it. You still might enjoy it, but it's not this heightened excitement. So for example, maybe the first time you went on a plane, it was all novel and exciting, and oh my gosh, I'm on a plane and this is so cool. And it was an absolutely like a lot of reward response to the stimuli, which was going on a plane for the first time. But the 10th time that you go on the plane, it's probably not as exciting. Okay, great, I'm flying somewhere, but it's a plane, it's cool. The response to the stimuli, which is going on a plane, is not as high anymore. So that's what we want to do with food, except if you keep mentally restricting with food rules and guilt of I shouldn't have it, every time you're having that food and feeling guilty or like you shouldn't have it, you're keeping it in a novel state. So you're getting a heightened reward response, and that's what creates the urgency to eat more and more, especially if you know tomorrow you're gonna say goodbye. This is like Last Supper mentality, and it's gonna go away forever, or at least for like the next 3 months. And so all that builds up urgency to go completely out of control, or it might be self-sabotaging because you're mad at yourself now for ruining your day, when in reality you just enjoyed chocolate. So what I'm going to share with you is a way to do this process of habituation that feels so much safer than just incorporating all your foods at once in whatever situation you find yourself in. What you want to do, if you don't feel safe yet to have chocolate on its own, or even just to have chocolate, you want to incorporate the trigger food that you've selected into a balanced meal. This creates a safe, balanced environment for you to experience this food and really see how it feels to your body, and build that trust that it's okay to have it and you are just fine when you enjoy it, and you don't go out of control. So let me give you 3 examples of how to do that, starting with chocolate. Rather than having chocolate on its own whenever it happens to be around, which our end goal is to feel safe having chocolate at any time, and you don't have to have it incorporated with other things. But as a beginner and someone who is easing yourself into this process, we do want to plan this out. Maybe think of a lunch or snack or breakfast or time that you are going to incorporate chocolate. So 2 great examples would be, let's say you have your morning yogurt with some cashews and chia seeds. Add some chopped chocolate into that meal and see how that feels, and allow yourself to enjoy it in that safe environment where it's pre-portioned, together with some protein and fat and fiber that can also aid in satiation and help you truly experience the chocolate for what it is. Another example would be a snack of nuts and fruit of your choice. Here I put cashews and apples, and then you add some chocolate into that. Truly allow yourself to savor it and enjoy it. And again, having it in this environment that is much more balanced can help you feel good, really pay attention to the taste of the chocolate and experience it for what it is, and challenge those food rules in that context and see that it is okay to eat chocolate, and you can trust yourself with that and really assess how you're feeling after. Next, we have potato chips. So potato chips, I always love this recommendation of using it like croutons for an extra crunch in your salad. So let's say you're having a salad for lunch, throw some of your favorite chips on top as croutons, maybe take some in a bag with you to work if you're enjoying it at work so it doesn't get soggy. Crunch it up on top and really savor the crunch and the flavor, and then assess and notice, hey, I had chips. How am I feeling? You know, am I feeling balanced? Is it okay? And really proving to yourself that it's okay to have chips and you are feeling good. And if you're not feeling good after you had the chips on the salad, then that's information you can take in and say, hey, now that I know how I'm genuinely feeling and it's not about food rules, I can make a different choice next time. But ultimately, you're creating a safe environment where you can assess that without the noise of food rules or food guilt, or worrying that you're gonna finish a whole family-sized bag if you're not ready for that stage of food freedom and food peace. Another idea that is super yummy is having a snack plate as well, but this time it's more savory with some hummus and vegetables, and then having the chips maybe to dip into the hummus as well and enjoy the crunch and saltiness. You can totally switch this up. Use cottage cheese and tomato, use guacamole, use a sour cream dip, whatever it is that you want, whatever dip that you have with any vegetable of your choice, and the chips to really create that balance where you're having the protein and the fiber with the chips that also will aid in helping you really tune in to how it's feeling and build that trust that, hey, I had potato chips and it was okay and I enjoyed it, and I could really build that trust to eventually be able to have potato chips around all the time and know that it's okay to have it, and really pay attention to your body and eating amounts that feel good. Last but not least, we have a pizza. So this one is just super simple and straightforward. Have the pizza with a salad. Just think about things that you can add rather than take away, and notice how that's feeling. And the pizza itself has protein and fat to aid in satiation. You have some salad to add some fiber, again, to aid in satiation and balance. And really notice how your body's feeling when you have that slice of pizza with the salad. That's really ultimately a balanced meal. You have carb, protein, fiber, fat all in there. And then take time to assess, hey, how am I feeling? Would I want to experience this again? Or you can switch it up and have some sauteed or roasted vegetables on top of your pizza to add some fiber content, some nutrient content. And again, that in and of itself is a balanced meal. You have carb, you have protein, you have fat, you have fiber, and really pay attention to how is that feeling in my body and building trust that, hey, pizza is okay and I can have pizza. And keep practicing it. So choose one food at a time, incorporate it and plan it out in, hey, where am I gonna enjoy this? Maybe you're gonna start out with chocolate and say, okay, today I'm gonna have chocolate, some, chopped up chocolate in my yogurt parfait breakfast, whatever it is. Or, today I'm gonna have it with my snack with some fruit and nuts. Or maybe one day you decide that you're gonna have it with your dinner. Just randomly add it instead of waiting for after the meal for your dessert. You absolutely can enjoy chocolate with your meal and see how that feels. And I encourage that for you to be able to experience in a way that might feel safer to you. And it's okay to pre-portion an amount when you're first starting, knowing that you can have more, but at least at the meal and at the snack time, you have that amount to really help you stay centered and not get stuck in fear or distrust. And then with time, you will build that trust and can experiment when you feel safe enough to have chocolate on its own. But I will say, here's a caveat. If you are coming to your meal or snack, or even just having the chocolate on its own as a snack, and you're overly hungry, chances are you're gonna overeat, not because of the food itself that's triggering, but because your body is really hungry and it's sensing a lot more urgency to eat. So you really wanna pay attention to your hunger cues, and in general, practice honoring it in time rather than coming overly hungry, which increases your chances of overeating regardless of what you're eating. And I talk more about that in the video that I did, The Real Reason You Binge Eat, which you can go check out for more information on that. So just keep that in mind and really pay attention to your hunger cues when you're entering that meal or snack, and keep practicing. With time, you will build that trust that, hey, this food is okay and it's safe and I can enjoy it. And that will help you challenge the food rules and the guilt by getting direct experience that it is okay and you can trust yourself with this food. And with time, you can then go on to incorporating different foods. You're not gonna have to do it with every single food on the planet, but probably just taking about a select few foods to just build that overall trust that, hey, there's no food that is good or bad or has moral value. Maybe a food can make your body feel good or bad, but that's not a reflection of your character, and you don't have to ever feel bad, but rather every eating experience is a learning experience, and this tip is here to help you have that learning experience in a way that feels calmer and safer and more systematic. And I walk you through this also in my free guide, 3 Steps to Stop Feeling Out of Control with Food, where you can actually write down your specific thoughts and feelings and foods that you're choosing. You can get it in the link in the description if you'd like to print that out and maybe do this experiment that I just shared with you along with the guide. That can be really truly helpful in implementing it to your life. Let me know in the comments, which food are you gonna try out this tip with and turn your binge food into a balanced meal? Is it gonna be chips, chocolate, pizza, or maybe a whole other food? Let me know what it is for you so that I could root for you and support you. I'd love to know. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, so that you are notified every time a video becomes available to help you find food freedom, body peace, authentic health, so you can live a full and free, beautiful life. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.